Welcome back to an all-new episode of Rich and Ben, the Sober Men, the podcast, episode 22. And Ben, before we begin, I have to apologise today because I've been poorly the last 2 days. I'm full of cold. You may be able to hear it in my voice, in my nose. So I do apologise, but I'm struggling through, and that is what we do. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, for a minute then, I thought I was still listening to Barry White in my hot tub this morning. Hot tub? I haven't got a hot tub. In a bath with my Radox. I can't fit in a bath anyway. I'm 6'6". But mate, yeah, you do sound a bit bunged up. Are you doing all right? Have you got the Lemsips on the go, mate?
I have. I'm not used to getting sick in the summertime. Like, it's strange, isn't it? You don't normally get like a cold, but I've started a new job, so I'm in rehearsals at the moment, going on the Mamma Mia tour. So come and see me around the country. Check out the website, etc., etc. That's the one. So we're deep in rehearsals.
Go and see Rich. He's going to be brilliant.
Come and say hello at stage door. So, so I'm in rehearsals, and I'm obviously travelling into London, using the London Underground a lot at the moment, early doors. And I think I was thinking, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it? Because I think as human beings, as a species, we're quite dirty, aren't we? We are quite dirty. And I always find it interesting when you get especially on the Underground in London, and it's like, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're standing next to someone, and you're like, God, dude, you stink! It's stinking. I'm like,
what a bit of Bo Selector.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a shower in the morning, and I encourage everyone to be as well. And I kind of think you can't have got up that long ago. How can you smell this bad? And like when you're in that sort of close proximity to people, and I get a little frustrated with that, because I'm like, please just have a shower, wash your clothes, that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
but then someone says to me,
just
maybe
personal hygiene, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think Transport for London, they should put little like holsters in the carriages with little deodorants in that you can spray fellow commuters if they're a bit whiffy woo.
And the signs that say, please stand behind the yellow line, it should say, please use your Lynx Africa as well, to be honest. But yeah, it's a bit, I feel myself getting frustrated because you can feel the bacteria in the air.
Feel the germs.
Yeah. And then I just thought, one day I woke up and I was like, I'm a bit sniffly. Am I getting a bit poorly? And by the next day, I was streaming and and I was just a bit like, I guess it's just one of those things. It just happens.
Be proud of yourself. Like, you're working your derriere off. Like, it's been bloody warm. You've got that little commute into rehearsals, haven't you? But how nice, mate. No danger of a hangover on top of that. Can you imagine? I bet you see some sights on the tube, don't you, first thing?
You do. Yeah, I do first thing in the morning, and I was thinking exactly that. It's like you can, if you wake up and you're feeling a little under the weather, or your sleep's not been great. Luckily, my sleep has been pretty good, which is, we're always a big fan on this podcast, aren't we? Of like making sure you get your good sleep, lots of water, and So I was thinking, if I was still drinking, and I got home, after a long day at work, having half a bottle of wine or whatever, or 3 or 4 Fosters and stuff, and then waking up and feeling ill and having a hangover. You can't cope with it. If I'm tired or if I'm a bit poorly, I'm okay. Like, I know I can push through, and it's okay. Obviously, you need to give your body the rest if you're sick and that and stuff as well. But yeah, mate, it makes it so much more palatable to just go, well, at least I've had a healthy food day. I've got some good sleep. I'm a bit under the weather, but I can push on through. But yeah, I don't miss those days where I'm going into work and I've barely slept and I'm hungover, or it's horrendous. So yeah, no, feeling good in that respect, but just feeling a little bit bunged up, and my voice is a little bit lower than it should be. But
Rich and Ben, the sober man.
That's it.
Sounding sexy, baby.
Getting sexy. But yeah, I'm good apart from that, mate. How are you doing?
I'm really good, kinda. Like, the listeners will know I've got like slightly dodgy knees. Well, yesterday I was at work, Rich, on my delivery round, and I felt like something go in my left knee. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, I became like Hopalong Cassidy. I was walking like J.R. Ewing, like I'd been on a bloody stallion for 8 hours with a sore ass. But I don't know what happened, but I've woken up this morning, mate, and my knee has swollen. I can feel like something going on in there. So I was like, oh man, so I'm hobbling around, but I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm going to try and get a doctor's appointment on, like, lo and behold, I can get in touch with my GP on Monday morning first thing and try and get another scan and check it out. But I'm good, mate. I'm in good spirits. And I had like a eureka moment this morning as well. Like, this is a sign that I'm getting old, pal. I was only introduced to the joy of the male slipper about a year ago. The joy of sliding into a cheeky male slipper after work, after a long shift, is absolute bliss. It's like my new 4-pack of Fosters, you know, the joy it brings me. And now I haven't just got one pair, Rich. Oh, no. I've got 2 pairs. So I've got a pair upstairs. I've got a pair for downstairs. Right. And because my knee is fucked, I was like, oh, man, and I got downstairs and I said to myself, oh, please, God, let my downstairs slippers be downstairs. And I saw them. It was like this eureka. They were like glowing in the hallway. And literally, Rich, I went to myself, yes.
Yeah.
How sad is that? The joy it brought me. So the middle-aged slippers are helping my knee gait. And also I've had a little fight with the washing pile this morning. Have you ever done this? Like, I had to put a wash on this morning. Picked up the pile of washing. And a couple of socks dropped out, and I was like, oh, God, pick those up. And simultaneously, like a pair of boxer shorts dropped down. So I had this 5-minute fight with the washing pile of like all my underwear yo-yoing onto the floor. It's like a bloody scene from a panto. I was like, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, but the joy of the slippers has put a smile on my face. And you, like, the saga of the Japanese knotweed continues as well. Do you remember that?
Okay, I do,
and I was at the tip. Oh, talking the tip. Do you find this, pal, that your car becomes invisible when you get to the tip?
Like, what, to everyone else?
Yeah, like I was there again the other day, and literally, I was like, have you not seen that? My car is actually moved. I'm going to run you over.
Yeah.
I was going really slowly to be safe, but people are like oblivious. They're like, oh, where does the cardboard go? And they're looking around like, you know. I'm like, Jesus, like, I'm going to run you over. So I was like, does my car become invisible at the tip? But anyway, back to the knotweed. So I was listening, like, I'm a huge Frank Skinner fan, who's sober as well, of course. Come on the pod, Frank. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was listening to his podcast, which is my little go-to on the morning. It's lovely, little twice a week, feel good, you know, like Rich and Ben. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And his co-presenter, Emily Dean, who's his sidekick, she's great. She's really good value. But she was saying, and I was just pricking my conscience. I was like, oh my God, has she just said Japanese knotweed? Anyway, she was talking about her friend was selling her house, and they had to hire, in order for it to sell and go on the market, it must have been in London, a Japanese knotweed sniffer dog. So in order to say for the sale, like, it's safe, we're Japanese knotweed free, they hired a sniffer dog. So I was like, why is Japanese knotweed suddenly like taking over my conscience?
Also, how is that a job? So if you go, you know, a police dog, they're bred and they're trained into becoming police dogs, you know, to sniff out the, you know, the weapons and the drugs and stuff. So do they breed dogs and go, these dogs are going to the police, these dogs are going to the Japanese knotweed impound, they're going to be trained. So hold on. So let me get this right. Man. So they have the dogs that come in, and then they give them a little sniff of the hanky with a bit of Japanese knotweed like scent on it, and they go, right, I'm going to go and try and explore and see if this house is suffering from Japanese knotweed. Is that what they do? That is something. That's a unique, I think
you said, didn't you?
Job.
It's like dangerous because it like erodes the house. I guess,
yeah, it's
like
dangerous.
The foundations and
yeah.
But yeah, maybe you're right, Rich. Or maybe there's just some really wealthy police Alsatians out there sat on their sun chairs at home with like a little cheeky ciggy on the go and a little mocktail. If they listen to the pod, please listen to the pod, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm doing a bit of overtime today. Do you know what I mean? I'm on the knotweed shift. But yeah, I was like fascinated, and from nowhere, like I might get a T-shirt made saying "I heart Japanese knotweed." Like, it's taken over my life. So that made me chuckle. The invisible car at the tip made me chuckle. But yeah, the joy of a slipper. Oh, bliss.
Can I just jump in on that and talk about slippers, because I love it. I love a slipper too. I really do. And we've got hard floors at home, so the slippers, like, they're important, especially in the winter, because the floor can be a little cold here and there, a
little chilly.
But I wanted to buy a pair of slippers this was like last summer. And I went into all into Marks and Spencer's, into Next, all the stores where you're going to get like slippers. And I went into I couldn't find any. And I said to the woman behind the counter, I said, look, I said, am I just missing something? I said, I can't, you've got no slippers. She went, yeah, you can't really get them in the summer. we don't sell them in the summer. I'm like, so hold on, people don't wear slippers in the summer. No, it's a kind of a cold weather thing. We don't do that in the summer. And she looked at me as if to say, don't you know this? I'm like, well, why would I? Like, I've got hard floors at home. I don't want to walk around in my bare feet and in my socks all the time. I want a pair of slippers. So yeah, so if you're hunting for slippers in the summer, please tell me where you get them from, because I had to wait to the winter to get mine. But also, when I first get them, they're fantastic. And they're like fluffy and they're soft. I'll wear them for 6 weeks and I need a new pair because they're all like flattened down and like, they're not as comfortable.
The chassis goes, doesn't it? And also we were all in our slippers the other night watching the footy. Let's not talk about the footy.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was like, oh, there's a little waft of slipper in the air, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think 6 weeks and the shelf life is over, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, if you're listeners and you love a slipper, send us your pic as well.
Yeah.
We've had some great response, and what a week. Talking of response, Rich, to dear Brian Connolly's 2 episodes, part 1 and 2. Like, the chat was so good, we split it into 2 weeks, didn't we, Rich? And it's just been great. And what a guy, Brian, and listeners seem to be loving it.
We've had so many messages in of, people that relate to the things that Brian was saying. And it was just, what was so nice, I found, Ben, was that how open Brian was. Yeah. And he talked about everything. Nothing was off the table. He talked about his mental health struggles. He talked about his drinking issues, right from the very beginning, right up to where he is now. And to hear his story and to see the growth, I mean, the man's got an absolutely fabulous career, and he said towards the end of part 2, if I hadn't have stopped the booze, it paved the way for everything that came afterwards, because he's 42, wasn't he, when he finally knocked it on the head. And he said that it was nothing subsequently would have happened in the way it did if he'd carried on drinking. And I just thought, to be able to sit there and for us to just listen to him talk and impart his wisdom and his knowledge and his experience over the last, it's 50 years in show business and sort of 22 years alcohol free. I found it really inspiring. And as you said, we've had dozens and dozens of messages and emails come in saying exactly the same thing. And how lovely it was to hear him speak so openly, and how people got so much from what he said. Because as we always say, whatever walk of life you come from, the struggles don't discriminate. Whether you are, on stage, or whether you're on television, whether you're in Hollywood, whether you're working on the supermarket, whether you're working on the building site, whether you're working in the office, whatever walk of life you come from, you can struggle with alcoholism, with substance abuse, with mental health issues. It does not discriminate. But the key is that there is help, and there is help out there. Brian outlined how he got help. We talked about, there's options on the NHS. Brian said that, he was able to get some private help as well. So there are so many different options and so many different avenues that you can take to just talk to someone, outline your issues, get some expert advice, and get yourself better. And that was amazing to see him. He just was effervescent, wasn't he? He sort of was flourishing, and he said himself, I'm at a position where I want to give something back. And I think you and I can relate to that, because when we were deep in the madness and really struggling, we couldn't have even imagined trying to help someone else or try to talk to someone else about our experiences, and how they might relate to that and be able to get some help. And you may be able to guide them in the right direction to get that help. But you do get to that point, and how fulfilling is that? It's massive, especially for us. That's why we do the podcast, because we want to just share our experiences and stories, other people's stories, build a community to tell people they're not alone, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, as soon as Brian got to the studio, we're like, thank you so much. Like, Brian, honestly, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Straight away, Rich, didn't he? He was like,
yeah,
I feel like I can help people. I just want to help people. And my word, that chat we had with Brian is helping so many of our listeners. It's proof of the pudding is all the messages we've got, how much they've enjoyed the episode. And what I loved as well about what Brian said, just he said, like, it wasn't like he kept battling, and then almost like the penny dropped, and he was like, you know, the buck stops with me. And he knew when it was time to make that decision to improve his life, his happiness, and just to see like the wisdom he brought to the conversation, his contentness with life, and just how his career's flourished, and his life is so much better. And it was just a wonderful chat, and what a great guy, like uber talented, like loved him for years, but actually we hardly touched on his career, did we? It's such a beautiful thing, really. It's just like you, me, like our listeners, and just like he'd never believed he could be sober now for 22 years, and he was like, if I can do it, anybody can. And we're so grateful. And don't forget, part 2 dropped, it was episode 21, but if you're new to the pod, start at part 1, which is episode 20. It's two brilliant episodes, and there's so much more there to enjoy as well. But the listeners really were appreciative as well, I think, weren't they, Rich?
Yeah, they were. And as we said, we got so many messages of support, and I think it was a lot of people that didn't know that Brian had gone through the experiences that he had, because obviously people just see him on television as being like hilariously funny and charismatic and confident, and kind of we stripped all that away. And as you said, we didn't talk show business really hardly at all, which is why Brian, he wasn't there for that. He was there, obviously that's a byproduct of his story, but it was about the struggles and just trying to cope with that, because it must be difficult. I mean, you and I, we're not in the public eye like Brian, so it must have been so difficult to try and cope with those things and feel your, especially in his absolute peak of his career, that all eyes are on you, and if it was kind of, if it was sort of became out that he was struggling so much, that it might have affected his work, his employment status. You just don't know. And he had a family to support and a job to do, and he was able to get himself the help he needed. And so many stories, so many interesting insights. And it was just like, we can't thank Brian enough for coming in and chatting to us. And
well, what a first guest, Rich, on the pod, and there's going to be plenty more. So it's just, we just feel very proud with that Brian wanted to come and talk to us, and it was so insightful. It was just great.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And talking of messages, we haven't done a listener messages for a couple of weeks, obviously, because we've had the Brian episode out. But we've
been busy boys, haven't we, both? So it's actually nice to have a little cheeky episode 22 catch up.
Yeah, I've got a message here actually, Ben. This actually relating to, so before the 2 Brian episodes, we did an episode on drinking whilst you're going on holiday and trying to protect yourself and having a sort of sober holiday, and how that would be. And Chili Steve has written in. He's chili obsessed on Instagram. He's got his own chili van. He does a lot of like events and festivals and stuff as well. And he wrote into the pod, and he said this. He said, "Hi guys, I was flying back from Malaga, my first sober summer holiday, when I listened to this week's podcast. What a surprise to find you talking about sober holidays. You're so right. I had just as much fun, if not more, being sober. Love the swimming, sunbathing, and every bar had alcohol-free options, so I didn't feel I was missing out. Even when my partner was drinking, I came back refreshed and the same weight as when I went out." Oh, nice one, Steve. I mean, that's good. That's good. Which is a first, he says.
Love that.
He said, "I'm the fittest and lightest I've been since I was in my teens. Keep up the chat." And then he goes on to say, "We'll be looking out for half-naked men in cubicles," because that was, just to give that a bit of context. If you listen to that podcast, I talk about how I went into into the men's toilet and I saw someone that was half-naked relieving himself. It was, go and listen to that episode, and you'll know, you'll have full context of that.
Well, I did try it the other week in Liverpool, Rich, post that recording, and I've had a lot of explaining to do to the local gendarme.
And that was from Chili Steve. So Chili Steve, thank you for that, mate, and well done. Glad you enjoyed your holiday sober. And yes, it is possible. We're still in the summer as it stands. So, if anyone's going away, enjoy that sober holiday, and you really will.
And I've got one from another Stephen Kirkham, who's a part of the Sober Squad. He's joined the Sober Buzz with Rich and Ben. On the email, don't forget you can email us. We're on the TikTokers and Instagramicus. But the email is thesobermenpod@gmail.com. And Steve sent an email saying, great podcast as always. After 10 days and 131 miles, I've walked coast to coast, Saltburn-on-Sea to Morecambe Bay, camping along the way. And I've raised over £1,000 for charity. I could never have dreamt of doing this if I was still drinking. How great is that? Thank you so much for your email, Stephen. And bless Stephen. What I love, we joke on the pod, don't we, about the middle-aged two hands behind the back walk. We've been posting. Yeah. I spotted a couple doing it in Liverpool, which we posted on our socials this week. And it's spreading. It's everywhere. I love it. So blooming comfortable. I might try it in my slippers as well, actually. That might be a double whammy of comfort. But Steve has sent us a brilliant video on the walk with his big rucksack on. And he asked a German hiker to film him doing the two hands behind the back walk. So we're going to pop that on our Insta story as well, so look out for that. But Stephen, well done. We're going to find out what charity you're walking for as well. We'll give that a push on the same post, so you can help raise and add to that £1,000. But how great is helping himself but helping others, and he just, sobriety has given him that drive to do that, and I think that's wonderful. So both of you, thank you so much for reaching out to the pod. We do really appreciate it, don't we, Rich?
Yeah, we really do, and it's so nice to see people that are getting sober and people that are like sober curious, and then you start doing things for other people, because we, whilst we were drinking, we were just, it's quite a selfish place to exist, and we're just thinking about ourselves. And what happens is you get that clarity, and the fog clears, and suddenly like, I'm going to do this because this is going to help someone else. And it's all about paying it forward and trying to do that. And obviously Steve with his charity walk there, I mean, that's amazing, and well done, mate. Listen, I can't listen, I struggle walking at the top of the road sometimes, so
Rich,
well
at the
done.
moment I have no hope. Like, I'm going to struggle to get down and make my cheese and pickle sandwich for lunch after this.
I know. Oh, bless you, mate. But yeah, Steve, well done. And thanks, Chili Steve, as well, for writing in. It's, and as Ben said, you can write to us at thesobermenpod@gmail.com, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at the Sobermenpod. Ben, should we have a bit of Who's in the Frame?
Yes, well, we had our Who's in the Frame in real life for the last two episodes. Brian was in the frame, of course. So this week, I've chosen British composer Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh,
now,
nice.
When I saw that he had been struggling with alcohol, I was like quite taken aback. I was like, really? It's weird, isn't it? Just somebody I never thought, would be in that position, but it just goes to show everybody has their own struggles and things to overcome in life when it comes to alcohol and their relationship with it. And according to Lloyd Webber, he's been sober for about 18 months now. Okay. He revealed that he decided to seek help about 18 months ago, saying, I'm a recovering alcoholic. 18 months ago, I decided that I needed help, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. He now attends AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. We've got a great episode on that, haven't we, Rich, as well? He's at their meetings every day, and he credits them with helping him maintain his sobriety. He was saying, ultimately, he could just see the anguish and the stress and the upset it was causing his family as well, and he just realised that, it's time. I've got, the buck has stopped with me. He's got to do something about it, as Brian said in episode 1 of the Brian Connolly episode. He also shared, Rich, that he previously tried to stop drinking on his own, remaining alcohol-free for about 18 months, but later he relapsed and began drinking secretly before eventually seeking support through AA. He thought that, the drinking would fuel his creativity, but actually, as I know, from being sober on stage now, when I'm on stage, it's actually freed me up. I mean, I'm no Lloyd Webber, my goodness, I'm just a tall Bruce Forsyth-esque character actor. But I kind of get that it's freed him up creatively, and he just, what a great decision. And I just think, again, it's somebody later on in their life who you think, my goodness, that's a tough decision to make, because he could easily have just carried on and, drunk himself into oblivion. But how good he realizes there's still a lot of life ahead of him, and he wanted to do this for himself and his family and his loved ones. And, he's made a decision to do that and prolonged his life. And I think that's fantastic.
Nice. And I think also for someone like him, living with so much pressure, because obviously he's so highly, revered in musical theatre circles. He's probably one of the, if not the most well-known musical theatre composer of all time. To consistently keep delivering and try to come up with like new melodies and new musicals, and that must be living with pressure. And I guess maybe that kind of helps him to kind of just escape everything. As we know, we always talk about, it numbs you, doesn't it? It takes you away from pressure, it takes you away from stress in the short term, but eventually the upshot of that is that it becomes a lot more detrimental in the future. And I think for him, like you said, it could happen at any age. And interesting you said there that we're big advocates for whatever works for you, aren't we? So, whatever path of sobriety you want to take, however it works for you, whatever keeps you sober, whatever keeps you, clean and with clarity in your head, use it, do it. And he obviously tried to white knuckle it for a while, but realized he couldn't do it on his own. Some people can do it on their own. Some people can't. I definitely needed that help. Ben, you're using the apps, and you're determined, and you're going that way. And there's all different types of sobriety, and what people use the strength of their friends. They kind of, use YouTube videos, even ChatGPT, we've spoken about before. People even chart their sobriety journey on that. But obviously he got to a point where he needed a little bit more than just doing it on his own, and those avenues are available to everyone. You can, there's AA websites, or it's CA or NA, any of the A's that you need to that you need to use if you need that route. It's available to you, and it's free. That's what's the beauty of it is. It's all free. You don't have to pay for it. So, Andrew Lloyd Webber in the frame.
And what I love as well, Rich, with that, like you said, whatever route you take to sobriety, there's the common core, the common theme is it's made us all happier. And how great is that? So we can enthuse about that. And, it's evident, our listeners, our viewers will feel that whatever route you're taking, it's like you must be feeling happier. I know I certainly do. And I have to apologise to Andrew Lloyd Webber. Just a little sidebar. Years ago, it would have been before the spoking. I look like Sugar. Look at those gnashes. But before the smoking ban came in, Rich, I was at first night party he wrote a musical with Ben Elton. It would have been the early noughties. It was at the Cambridge Theatre in London called The Beautiful Game.
Oh, yes.
So I was at the first night party, and Lloyd Webber was there, and he had this nice, silk feel shirt on. And anyway, Rich, of course, what a surprise. I was pissed, had a fag in my hand, and I burnt a hole in the back of his shirt.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Did he know?
I scarpered. No. And I scarpered because probably at the time I still had visions of being cast as the Phantom of the Opera. So I just scarpered the other way, like, ooh, Betty. But I always remember that. I was like, wow. Lloyd Webb, I commend you for your sobriety. 100% respect and apologies if the next morning you woke up and you thought, who's burnt a hole in my shirt? It was me. Apologies.
Mate, I tell you, wouldn't it be amazing? I mean, our background is musical theatre. He's obviously musical theatre. Wouldn't it be amazing to get Lloyd Webber on the podcast and discuss his sobriety? And then I would love to sit and witness you telling him that story, because the podcast might end there and then. He might just get up and leave.
Yeah,
and say,
it could be the world's shortest podcast. I'd be like, have you got Japanese Knotweed?
Yeah, but mate, that's what a great story. But Lord Lloyd Webber, if you want to come on Richard Ben the Soberman, listen, you are more than welcome. We love to chat to you about your sobriety journey and the struggles you face. But the door is always open.
Oh, Rich, that's made me chuckle. I'm in such a good mood this week. I'm always in a good mood, but I'm just super happy today. I love it. Yeah, I'm just having a little sip of water, my old china.
Listen, you do that.
But we've got another exciting chat, haven't we, for this week?
Yeah, well, it was interesting because when we were chatting to Brian Connolly, obviously, we were talking about, where it all, where his sort of alcohol-free journey started and where he got to, and like the troubles. And obviously we've discussed about our situations and stuff on previous episodes. And I just thought that's kind of quite a good foundation, because the foundation is, we always talk about rock bottoms, don't we? You get to your rock bottom. And the question that I thought of asking you as a topic to discuss on this episode was what actually is rock bottom, and do we need to get to that point before we get sober, or before we stop drinking, or before we recognize? And I thought that was interesting because it's quite open-ended, because I think people do get to rock bottom, obviously, and some people just want to make a change. And I just thought it'd be interesting to explore what rock bottom actually means and where do you go from there. So what do you think rock bottom actually is, Ben?
Rock bottom is a feeling. I think it's a psychological feeling, because you can have all the material things in the world. You can have the house, the car, the good job, the friendships, great partner, a happy life, a good life.
Mm.
The material things are there. But if you know deep down in your conscience that I'm struggling, that there's no, how can I lose this addiction? How can I fight it? How can I move forward? It's almost like a feeling. For me, I found rock bottom was like a feeling as opposed to one moment. My rock bottom was a series of flashpoints in my life over probably about, realistically, Rich, 20 years. For 20 years, it's been in my psyche like, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't drunk so much. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't have an issue with alcohol. But how do I address it? How can I possibly move forward? So all those flashpoints of lowness, of depression, of like massively fueled anxiety. I remember like my solo holiday I mentioned a few weeks ago, that was a rock bottom. On the outset, doing something to help me, but I was low. That was a rock bottom for me. Having that fear on stage that, again, I've mentioned about drying in front of 3,000 people, thinking I'm done with booze, I can't put myself through this feeling again. That was a rock bottom. Wanting to go on that walk with my rucksack and never wanted to come back, that was another rock bottom. But nothing changed, Rich. So it's like a plateau of rock bottoms in my life that I suppressed. And of course, when we suppress issues and we don't address them, they ferment and they fuel, and they just escalate inside you, don't they? Well, that's what I certainly find.
Yeah.
So there's almost like a resilience to it as well. Like us folk, our listeners, and who, we've struggled with alcohol and narcotics and are doing something about it. As I've said before, we're resilient buggers. And these rock bottoms, it's so hard to address in society. Where do you start? And you keep on living, you keep on pretending, you keep on using that mask to think, I'm all right, I've got a job, I've got a house, I've got a car, I'm doing all right. But inside, you're crucified. These series of rock bottoms are crucifying you. So I think that mine was just an escalation of having all these rock bottoms, having the shame of not having the courage to be open about it, to address it, that I think when I was ready to stop, and the catalyst was my hair transplant, which is crazy. Who would have thought all these ridiculous like feelings of depression and lowness I'd had in my life, that the catalyst was getting a new bloody hairline? But that maybe for me, that's what I needed to think this is, and as Brian said in his episodes, it's the timing. Maybe it was like all these years of suppressing those mini rock bottoms. It was my time to say, this is it. And interestingly enough, as I've mentioned before, it's the one person who I know is my effing soulmate is my wife, Rita. And she said to me, you won't drink again. But who'd have thought that my hair transplant, suddenly everything like made sense. Everything was like, as Brian said again, so many things I can relate to Brian's episode. Like, I wanted to be there for my family. I'm going to lose all this if I don't do something about it. So I knew I had to change. And it was that feeling that almost like surviving can be a rock bottom, even if it's not the catalyst, the main catalyst to become sober. Just surviving over, for me, realistically, I was surviving in life for 20 years, Rich. That was a prolonged rock bottom that was always there for me. Did you have, for you, in contrast, was it one moment, Rich, or do you kind of relate to the fact it was just a period of time of suppressing, that feeling of, I can't address this. How was it for you?
I think it's similar to you. I think it's progressive. I think that you don't go from being absolutely fine to the next day hitting your absolute rock bottom. I think it's a succession of falling, so you get to, and then one day I think you do wake up and you suddenly go, because you're numbing all those feelings anyway with whatever substance or whatever drink you're using. And then the reality kicks in and you look around and you go, I've lost my house, I've lost my relationship, I've lost my job, I've lost my money, I've lost my family. But those don't all happen in 24 hours. It's progressive. It's progressive, and you get there bit by bit. And I think the thing is that for me, those things were happening, but I was in denial about them. I was like, oh, that's fine, I'll sort that out. And then the next thing would happen. Oh, don't worry, I'll sort that out. In my brain, eventually get to a point where you got nothing left. And the catalyst was being left with nothing, living in the back room of someone's flat, no job, no partner, no family, no money, and going, oh my God, how have I got here? Which was a little bit of like, oh, self-pity. I'm like, no, it can't be self-pity at that point, because you brought this on yourself. You've done this. Do you know what I mean? Like you're the one that has caused all this chaos in your life, and now you're going, oh, I can't believe I can't believe that. Well, I could believe it if I take accountability for that. So I think my rock bottom, and I had to get to that point where everything was gone. I had to, because I think if you can survive enough just to keep on rolling a little bit, and then someone comes and goes, oh, I'll give you this, or I'll help you with that, or you won't make that change. You almost have to be shocked into making a change. I think that was my experience.
Well, you're papering over the cracks, aren't you? Yeah. Time and time again, and suppressing everything, and almost I felt like I was in like the waiting room of doom, just knowing, almost not caring that something catastrophic is about to happen, having second chance, third chance, fourth chance from friends as well. Like, how patient do friends stay with you when they're trying to help you and they can see that you're actually not really helping yourself here? So it is that accountability, isn't it? But it's so interesting because so many similarities, Rich. I remember thinking, suddenly I was living in a friend's spare room and like hugely grateful of their friendship, but suddenly just like, how did I get here? And it was just years of not addressing the issue, and it's super scary. But you're dead right. It's almost like if I'm looking at myself through those years, I'm just pushing away all the problems, pushing away, thinking I'll deal with that eventually, until I got to the point where, well, if I do crash and burn, I'm kind of expecting that. So, I've almost kind of given up here.
So would you say that there is how do we know when we've arrived at rock bottom? Because is there that, if like you said, you kind of knew there was something you needed to address, but you were perhaps in that mindset as I was, it's not bad enough yet, so I can just keep doing this for now. But is there a danger in waiting for rock bottom? Like, how do we know when we've got there? Because then you go, right, well, actually, I'm now. Do you wait till you're living under a bridge before you go, oh, I'm rock bottom, I've got to do something, or nothing's going to change? Or do you try and recognize that before you get to that rock bottom? Because would it be fair to say,
ideally, I would, like, now I would advise people to, if they're worried, to address the issue as soon as possible, because you just save yourself so much angst and heartache and darkness. It's very tricky, but almost like you're just not, because you can't see a way out, because you can't think of a brighter future, because you're so low, you're so addicted to this poison, which you're just turning to again and again, that cycle of just numbing any pain, that I just couldn't see like a brighter future. So where do you start? How do you address it? Who do you share that with? Who will really understand that you're desperate for help, unless you are open and honest about it. So now I would advise people, again, talk, open up together, be it a family member relation, a group of friends, a good friend. We can start to get some help here before you get to that point of just rock bottom, of just like, I'm cooked. I'm like ready to go. I actually don't care what happens to me. I've given up. I'm so far away from my true self. But of course, it's finding that one person who you can open up to, who you can say, look, I'm in the shit here. I need help. And of course, hindsight is a great thing, and I wish I'd been so open to so many people when I was struggling, Rich. My goodness, but thank goodness, we're both in a position now where we can talk about our feelings during that grey, that dark period to try and help people.
And as cheesy as it sounds, it's the gift of desperation. Being desperate like that and being ready, it's a gift, and it doesn't feel like it when you're deep in it. You can't. How is this a gift? This is I feel
horrific.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
But that it is a gift, and it is the catalyst, and it is the foundation for you to start making change. And I think that when you're ready for that, the fulfillment that you'll feel from that will outweigh any high or any night of being drunk and enjoying yourself, whatever that might be. That feeling that you're ready, and you're having that gift of desperation, knowing I need to make this change. Within days, within a week, within 2 weeks, you start to feel better, and it does take a bit of time to get to that point. And I don't know whether you can be living at rock bottom without realizing. I would say that you probably know you're at the bottom. You know that it can't get any worse for you.
You're just surviving. You're skint. You're losing touch with your family, your friends.
Yeah,
there's no hope. There's no brightness in your life.
That's right. And really, to get worse than where you are at that point could mean death. We know that, deep-rooted alcohol problems, deep-rooted drug problems, the seriousness of it is that it will kill you. And there's been people...
It's 100% real, that feeling, because we've both been there.
Yeah.
And we're gregarious guys. We love our life now. We've really found our happiness, but we're not bullshitting. We both were at that point, weren't we, Rich?
Yeah, definitely.
Where I'm cooked. I'm done. There's no future here. There's no future. My life is cooked.
Yeah. And you'll find yourself there quicker than you imagine, I think. And then you're really in trouble. But on the flip side of that, you can turn it around. We're testament to that. We speak to a lot of people that have gone through that process. And it's
scary. That moment, Rich, and it's a lovely feeling where you've given into it. That moment actually of like, when you went to your first AA meeting, when I was slowly beginning to feel the benefits of not drinking during that 4-week period after my hair transplant, it's like, I can actually breathe now.
Yeah.
People know I can breathe. I'm starting to feel better. Everything from here is a plus. It's a positive. And that, even though you're at your lowest, that's a really proud moment, isn't it? It's something to be proud of. And subsequently, like 5 years on for you, 3 for me, Rich, 22 years for Brian Conley.
Yeah.
When you think, I can hold on to that moment and I can smile now because I've got through it. But it's that moment of just giving in. And it's almost like you've put your hands up and say, I'm done. I'm done with drinking. I need some help. And from that moment, it can only get better, and it will get better.
It will. It will, and it can. And it's not easy. Listen, we're not being blasé about it. It's hard. We've all got ourselves into situations where we're like, I never expected my life to be at this point. I never, when you're 10, 12, 14, 15 years old, you don't imagine yourself at 35, 45, 55, 85 going, I've really fucked this. And I didn't
Rich,
ever
from the
expect
highs
to be
we've had
here.
on stage, a lot of the battle I had was just like, God, I've actually been quite successful in my life. On the outset, everything's great. We both probably felt that, but look at me now. I'm actually like a nothing. I'm just here, just struggling. I'm a nothing, you know. And subsequently, like, who'd have thought that years on, this is proof that, you know, we're into our podcast, we're helping people. Who'd have thought I'd be here smiling, almost like chuckling about, like, it got better. Like, it got better through our strength of purpose and having that clarity. And I'm sat here like Princess Anne riding saddle. And the only thing I'm kind of worried about, it's not a hangover or my problem with booze. It's because my left knee's fucked.
It's true. It's true. And you know what? We take that over any trauma from drinking or drug taking, or, you know, all of that you can deal with a knee issue, as painful as it is. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that, but
hey, I'm going to be all right, Rich.
You're going to be fine. And, you know, that's a sentence I would say to someone that wants to make a difference. Is at their lowest ebb. You can get better. And there, as we always say, you and I are not doctors, we're not psychotherapists, we're not counselors. We are just two guys that got ourselves into a bit of a pickle and found a way out. And that is available to everyone. Yeah. Wherever you live, wherever you're from, that help is available. If you're listening to this right now and you need some guidance, send us a message. Well, we'd be more than happy to try and push you in the right direction to go, talk to these people, talk to this person, get on that website, find this help. That help is available, and we've seen it, we've been through it, we've been at our lowest ebb, at our rock bottoms. There probably is always a rock bottom below that one, which essentially, as I said it before, and I'm being very serious when I say this, the rock bottom could mean death, and we don't want anyone to get to that point. We were at that point where we're like if you just said, Ben, this is it. I'm done. I'm out. I can't. You don't need to live like that. There is so much life to live, and there is so much happiness to be found. And I always enthuse about this. And I know it sounds cheesy, and I know it sounds, idealistic, but you can live a wonderful life with clarity and with a clear head, and with not putting essentially that poison into your body anymore, which you think is taking you away from your problems, but essentially is adding to them. And if you're at that point where you think, I don't know what to do, shoot us a message. Honestly, shoot us a message. Get on the AA website, get on the CA website, search. There are things out there to help you, because it's dangerous. And I know, seeing someone at their rock bottom, as horrific as that is, I know there's only one way from here. There's only one way, and the way is up, and you can find that. You can. Honestly, I believed in you, Ben. You believed in me. I believe in anyone listening to this right now. You can make a change. I really genuinely believe that. And please do, because you will come out the other side and go, thank God I did.
And also, people will look at alcoholics, won't they? And be like, people think an alcoholic is under Waterloo Bridge, with your half a bottle of whiskey, you've pissed yourself, you're under a cardboard box trying to get some kip, begging. It's kind of bullshit. Of course, there are people, unfortunately in that state, but we were struggling. We were holding down jobs. We were working. We were functioning. We had houses. We had, relationships. And I think it's very similar with the rock bottoms. You don't have to wake up behind a bin, having done whatever the night before.
Yeah.
You can have rock bottoms in your contemporary working life, and they can escalate and they can build. And so never be afraid to think, oh, it can't be me. It can't be me. Like, I'm still working. Like, if you know, then just try and reach out. And like you mentioned AA there, Rich, I sought, solace, I guess, and some great people online. There's Andy Ramage, there's Matt Pink, there's Andy Garwood, Life Beyond Booze. There's some brilliant people online that even now I look at their content, it just gives me a nice little nugget for the day to help me. And you'll soon find, like Rich and I, people have been there. And don't think you have to wait until you are waking up like still pissed, God knows where, on a park bench, to think, this is my rock bottom. If you think that, like I did, that there was, a series of rock bottoms, and just know that the sooner you can have the courage to say, I need a bit of help here, the sooner you can start to get better.
Yeah, it's very true, because rock bottom really is wherever you decide to stop digging, isn't it? If you get to that point, because the worst thing,
so true, mate.
Yeah, like if you're, like you said there, Ben, if you're functioning, and you're going to work and you're appearing that everything's fine to whoever you're working with or family or whatever, but in your brain you are really suffering and really struggling. It's a very lonely place to be, to exist like that. It's about just recognizing it and taking account of how you're feeling and where you're at, and the fact that you have a reliance on something that you don't want to have, and then you can find a way out of that. So that becomes your past that you will always remember, because it will make you who you want to become. But also to get that help where you can find a way to be the person that you want to be again, and the person that you possibly were in the past. It's like it is possible. And yeah, it's interesting what you said there, Ben, about you don't have to wake up behind a dumpster, like you said. You can find it before that. You don't start like that, do you? And unfortunately, if the people, like you said, it's so sad to see people living like that, but they didn't start there. It's progressive. The disease of addiction is progressive, and it creeps up and it creeps up, and it gets you, and it wants you alone, and it wants you, in solitude. So it can destroy you. But it doesn't have to, and you can find the help that you deserve. No one deserves to live like that. No one deserves to exist in a world where they just feel like they don't want to be here. Listen, we don't have long on this planet. Let's be fair. And as we get older, it goes quicker.
Yeah,
and
my God.
We just want to live. We want to feel happy. We want to feel peace. And we want to enjoy our family and our friends. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. The whole big, what is it all for? What is the meaning of life? All that kind of stuff. The bottom line is just to feel peace and just enjoy it, right?
Yeah. And what's been lovely about the pod, Rich, so far is that we've both been open about it. We're not all like, hey, we're sober, life is so freaking great. We've shared our lows as well. You're still going to get the lows.
Yeah.
You're still going to have those moments like, okay, I've got a tricky period of life here to navigate. I mean, that's life. But you've got that clarity, you're clear-headed. And when you do navigate that moment, the self-pride you'll have, the pride of your loved ones to say that, oh my God, like you've navigated that. Like, I'm really proud of you. It's actually like maybe like a new buzz for me now.
Yeah.
Knowing that I've given myself the best chance of conquering this weird life. I mean, I'd be struggling if I did find Japanese knotweed. I'd be like, fuck, I maybe need to get a sniffer dog round. But I can navigate life, you know.
Yeah, it's true. You can. And, obviously, and rock bottom is different than just life showing up and giving you a kick in the ass once in a while. That will happen. We can't stop that. There's always dramas and stuff and sort of fires, metaphorical fires to put out and stuff. But that rock bottom, whatever that is for you, is just the platform, the springboard, however you want to describe it, to get you to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm making steps forward instead of keep slipping, and that is that's the place where it all starts. And as we always say, it's not easy, and sometimes you still might be in a position where you're like, it's not bad enough yet. Okay, fine. If that's where your head's at, hopefully it doesn't get worse for you and you can find the help, but just try, if you can, to really ask yourself that question. Am I at a point where I need to make a change? And if you're asking yourself that question, it probably is the case, right?
Yeah. I know, if it's in your psyche, and like it was that was in my head for years, that question, just like but again, just didn't know where to start. But thank goodness that I did, because it's just, life is so much just easier. And don't we all want like an easy life, Rich? Life is tough enough as it is, but just to have that, like we're both off work today. Yes, I've got a dodgy knee. You're whacking back the Lemsips and the water and trying to get some rest. But it's like, life's just calmer. It's calmer. There's peace there. You'll have that peace, and that's lovely. And I promise you, when you get to that stage, and you'll get there, you will get there. When you get to that stage and you look back at those, whatever level of rock bottom you hit, if it was like me, where it was just, an accumulation of those moments, those feelings. When you've got through that, you just give yourself a pat on the back, and it's like, I've given myself the best chance of a healthier and a far, far happier existence here.
Yeah, I agree. And we're here to be evidence of you can hit rock bottom and you can bounce back, and that's basically the message I guess we're carrying on this week's episode, without being preachy, without trying to be saints with halos and stuff going, isn't it amazing? Because look at us, we're really not trying to do that, because we fucked it, didn't we? We fucked it big time. But now we've managed to turn it around and try to turn it into a positive, and it is possible. So yeah, listen, good luck out there. That's what I want to say. And it is possible. And, keep listening to us. Shoot us a message if you need some help, if you need some advice. We are more than happy to try and impart.
And if you know somebody in your friendship group who you might be a bit worried about, just give the pod a little nudge, their way, because it can help people. And even if they drop into 1 or 2 episodes and think, I can take something from that, then that's a help, which is kind of good, isn't it?
It's very good, mate, and please do that. Yeah, and keep writing in with your messages, with your stories at the sobermenpod@gmail.com, and obviously find us on TikTok and Instagram. And Ben, as always, we get to this point, we've been talking for about an hour, and we get a little bit thirsty. I think it's time for a little drink of the week. Okay, Ben. So
I love this bit. It was funny, wasn't it, with the Brian episode? I don't think he was too sure about the collagen. Was it a collagen smoothie or
collagen shot? Wasn't it? He didn't like it. But then he said the aftertaste was okay. So, well, today, mate, I've gone for something. It's like when I have a kebab. At first, I'm like, oh God, but I like the aftertaste. Right, today, mate, I've gone for a warm drink today. Actually,
oh, here we go. Well, makes sense with the head cold, dear boy.
It's true. Something for my cold. So I've gone for, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to show it to the camera, but if you're listening, I will explain it. So this is by Taylor's, and it's a lemon and ginger caffeine-free infusion. I don't know if you can see that there. It's it's a grey packet, a grey tea bag packet with a yellow stripe across it. Lemon and ginger, and it is a caffeine-free infusion. And it says it's an invigorating and zesty infusion. We all like one of those from time to time, don't we?
Gem's in for a good afternoon.
She is. You can have this. You can have this hot, or you can have. It says lovely iced too, so you can have this hot or cold.
Okay.
So nice. We like the ginger on our drink of the week section, don't we?
Well, it's full of good. I'll dive into that, like a lemon and ginger during Panto season. For listeners who don't know, it's a tough schedule, but there's always colds flying about the theatre backstage, and so lemon and ginger. It's a way forward. But have you gonna give it a little?
Gonna get a little try. It's been sitting there for a while, so it's kind of like lukewarm at the moment. Okay. So I have a little try of this. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey, nice mug.
Bit of branded, bit of merch there, bit of Rich and Ben, the Sober Men merch.
We should get those. We should offer those to listeners, shouldn't we? Is that a good idea? Would you like to own a mug? Should we have a think about it?
Rich and Ben mug. Yeah, mate, it's really nice. Lemon and ginger. It's not too. Sometimes we have the ginger and it's really sharp, isn't it? Which I don't mind in a shot, but this one, it's kind of a nice. It's smooth. It's smooth on the throat.
Nice.
It's good for my sort of sore throat, obviously at the moment. So
Nice, mate.
It's nice. It's quite zesty. It's more lemony than it is ginger. It's almost like a Lemsip without the paracetamol. So that is Taylor's. It's by Taylor's. You can find them in supermarkets. Lemon and ginger caffeine-free infusion. It comes in a tea bag. You can have it iced. You can have it cold, and that is this week's drink of the week.
Brilliant, Rich. That's going to do you so much good. Well done, mate. And look after yourself. Have you got a quiet afternoon in store? Can you just put your feet up, just rest up?
Yeah, I've got a quiet afternoon. I'm just getting. I've got a pile of ironing to do. I don't know why I've got into ironing at the moment. I don't know what.
I literally hate ironing.
Oh, I hate it. I've started. God. I never iron anything, and for some reason, the last month, I keep going. Oh, I should iron that. Really, I think it's because it's the summer, and a lot of stuff I'm wearing is kind of linen. So I'm like, I put it on. It looks like shit if I don't at least try to iron it. So I've always got a pile of ironing. I'm like, I can't be bothered, but I'll probably do a little bit of ironing, get on the sofa, have a relax, and that'll be me for the day, mate.
Oh, perfect. I remember being on tour in South Africa and we found this little laundry. When you're on tour, you have to do your own washing day. It's not glamorous at all. People think, oh, what a life. It's not at all. And I found a little dry cleaners in Cape Town, just sort of downtown Cape Town. And literally, you go back the next day, they would have ironed your boxer shorts and put them in tissue paper.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that here. Tissue paper.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in on that? You know what? Do you know what I really? It's one of the things that I really hate. That really annoys me when people say tissue instead of tissue. It's tissue. Please don't say tissue or issue. I have an issue. Can I flag this issue with you? Oh, it's fucking tissue. Just say it. Sorry, Ben. Carry on.
Oh, mate, don't worry. I don't have an issue with you at all for bringing that up. It's fine. Well, Rich, enjoy your ironing this afternoon. What's on the cards? It's the you know what? I'm just gonna chill. Like I've had a busy week of
yourself.
work. Yeah,
rest that knee.
I've got to rest the knee for sure. So I'll get the ice pack on the knee. Gonna it's chilli night tonight. We have a little Saturday chili club here.
Oh,
so
lovely.
yeah,
That
gonna
great.
have a nice chili con carne, and just a bit of naftelli, nice cup of tea. And also I've discovered like jumbo marshmallows.
Oh, I love them.
I've put the bourbons and malted milk to one side, and I'm into these like jumbo marshmallows. Which honestly, last night I put like 2 in my mouth at once. I look like Marlon Brando in The Godfather. So I might go for 3 tonight.
If you watch a movie tonight and you get popcorn, this is what I like to do with those giant marshmallows. You tip the popcorn into a big bowl and then you mix the marshmallows in. So you're getting that crunch and you're getting the soft marshmallow at the same time. Oh, it's bliss, mate.
Oh,
mate, this wouldn't have been a conversation we'd have been having back in the day.
Who needs 4 Fosters in the afternoon with 5 fags at the pub, then some pre-dinner beers at home, then a bloody bottle of Merlot before dinner when you've got the popcorn and marshmallow combo? I know what I prefer these days.
Me too, mate. Me too. Anyway, listen, listeners, if you enjoy your marshmallows, please get them down. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your evening, and Ben and I will see you on the next Rich and Ben the Sober Men, the podcast.
Have a great week, everybody. See you, Rich.